Kids have like an hour left. So get extra comfortable, kids, because after that, y'all gotta go. It's a wrap for y'all, because this thing turns into something that when y'all get older, y'all don't want to come to, okay? So, you know, let's just start to get our groove on a little bit. In an hour, we put the kids away, it's all good. All right, DJ, let's hit it. Let's do it.
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different.
But I do know this, that it's only 3 people that had contracts with Puff and Bad Boy.
Beyonce and Jay-Z, the music world's royal couple, are shaking in their designer boots. Why? Because some juicy new tea is spilling, and it's got their names all over it, girl. You know these two have been tight with Diddy for years, right? They've been making music-popping bottles and stacking paper together since forever. But now that friendship might be costing them big time, the streets are saying their evidence, linking them to Diddy's wild parties. And it ain't looking good. You know how Ba and Ja always try to keep it classy. Well, seems like they might have let loose at some of Diddy's infamous get-togethers. And now the receipts are coming out, people are talking, phones are buzzing, and social media is on fire with this hot gossip. Is the power couple's squeaky clean image about to get real messy? Grab your popcorn, because this drama is just getting started.
So earlier today, we reported to you that Piers Morgan decided to take down parts of his interview with Jaguar Wright, where she talked about and referred to Beyonce and Jay-Z as monsters and alleged that these two have held people against their own will. In a statement from Beyonce's attorneys, they said that these statements from Jaguar Wright were completely untrue and false, and asked that Piers Morgan take those clips down and to apologize, which Piers Morgan actually did. Well, now, and this is becoming a trend from celebrities, their attorney is speaking out on TMZ Live and addressing why Beyonce and Jay-Z decided to speak out. And he says that what Piers did and what Jaguar said actually hurts the real victims.
This must have been shocking to you that somebody comes on a show and then kind of levels these vague-ish allegations. Were you kind of ready for something like this to eventually happen?
Listen, there's rumors and then there's nonsense, and this is one step further, right? This is a pointed and formal accusation of something, and I felt it needed to be responded to. So I think somebody reported it was a cease and desist. It wasn't that. It was quite bluntly an ultimatum, which is remove that false accusation that's demonstrably false, or a court's going to order you to. And so I think he made the wise choice. And
so basically he's saying that they were willing to actually sue Piers Morgan over these statements. But Piers, in the moment when he was interviewing Jaguar Wright, or already was backpedaling, saying that, you know, we can't confirm or deny some of what she was saying, but has since went on his platform to denounce it. It's just not worth it for him. In the separate video that we did covering the story, we told you Piers Morgan is not just Piers Morgan on YouTube. It's not like Kempire here on YouTube. He has a monster house behind him, including Rupert Murdoch, who owns 50% of his YouTube channel. That is billions of dollars behind Piers Morgan. And one of the other things that I noted was the fact that Piers Morgan's contract with Rupert Murdoch's company, News UK, is up for negotiations now. So that could be a part of the motivation behind Piers Morgan. It's not worth it for him. However, take a listen to what the attorney says in regards to why this is so dangerous.
Now let's talk about these so-called freak-offs that have everyone's group chats blowing up. What kind of mess was Diddy into? That's got the music world's power couple losing sleep. The streets are whispering about wild nights that could change the game for everyone involved. Diddy's parties have always been legendary, but these latest allegations are taking things to a whole new level. We're talking about more than just your typical celebrity hangouts with fancy drinks and VIP sections. The word on the street is that these gatherings were full-on orgies with some seriously questionable behavior going down. Sources close to the situation are spilling that Diddy's parties were like something out of a movie and not the kind you'd watch with your mama. We're talking about drugs, sex, and all kinds of wild stuff that would make even the most seasoned party goer blush. And it wasn't just random people involved. Apparently, some big names in the music industry were right there in the thick of it. But here's where it gets real messy. There are whispers that these parties weren't just for fun. Some folks are saying that Diddy was using these gatherings to manipulate and control people in the industry. Like, imagine having dirt on all the biggest stars and using it to get what you want. That's some next level power play. And it's got people shook. The whole thing blew up when Cassie Diddy's ex filed a lawsuit against him. She's talking about years of abuse, and some of the details she's sharing are straight up horrifying. We're talking about forced encounters with other men, physical violence, and some seriously messed up control tactics. And that's just what's been made public. Who knows what else is hiding behind those NDA?
And acted accordingly.
He meaning Piers Morgan.
Removing it and apologizing for it, yes. What changed here in my mind is that somebody on a so-called journalistic platform exploited that kind of random rumor mill, whether it's disconnected from reality or what have you, and lifted it up. And by doing that, they not only caused harm here, but they are also droning out the voices of real victims. And by doing that to get clicks, it didn't just harm the Carters. What he did effectively was to drone out the voices of actual victims in an ongoing case, in an ongoing investigation. And that was too much for me.
Are you in the
Pause. This is the first time that we are having an actual celebrity, a celebrity that's close to the Diddy situation, actually address the situation. Besides Ray J. Besides Ray J, this is the first time the Carters have actually, in a way, through their representative, their attorney, is actually addressing the Diddy situation.
process of making sure that it is taken down everywhere?
What I am here to say is that in a situation as serious as this, somebody who puts themselves out as a journalist should not effectively take advantage of the situation and exploit somebody in this way. And so that's the real reason for action.
His words are very important because I do feel like on some level, I think he's talking about the exploitation of victims, but I also think there is an exploitation of Jaguar Wright, because I do believe, I do believe there is some truth to some of what she says. However, I do believe she does add a lot of sauce. And I've said this countless times that I believe that there is truth to what Jaguar has reported in regards to some of these folks. Yes, she's been in circles, but because she's been in those circles, maybe not for the last few years, she still has connections to those circles. But I also believe money has motivated her to add a little sauce, to give people those conspiracy theories that they're like, oh, that's juicy, because they much rather believe the juicy story than the actual fact. I don't know what the actual fact is, but what I can sense is that there is a level of exploitation of this woman and the state that she might be in and the stories that she's telling, in my humble opinion.
Does it strike you a little bit that there's been a lot of silence in Hollywood in the wake of all of this?
Well, as to the Carters, I can tell you that when they put their foot down on something as they did here, they are sending a message. And if they can't stand up and make sure right from wrong, then who can? I've always believed that the truth will come out in courtrooms, and I'm sure the truth will come out.
This is the first time that we've actually seen someone that was closely associated or friendly with Sean Diddy Combs in any way speak out. And a lot of people have associated and assumed and are predicting that Jay-Z is next. He's the next one in Hollywood to be exposed. And a lot of people have used the excuse, well, no one has ever sued Jaguar Wright. We've refuted those claims multiple times because keep in mind, guys, if you have nothing to lose, suing Jaguar is not going to stop Jaguar from still speaking. That's the thing. You could sue her and you could even get a judgment. But will that stop her from speaking about you and making these claims? No, we've seen this happen in recent times. That has not stopped someone from speaking. And if you don't have anything to lose, it's even more motivation for you to keep speaking. This is major news in regards to Jay-Z and Beyonce speaking because they never do. And the fact that their attorney is speaking on TMZ Live, yes, no matter how you feel about TMZ or whatever it may be, he has to get permission from them to go out and speak to the media on this. He has to receive permission from them to reach out to Piers Morgan and tell him, take that down or else. Or else what? We have to remember a lot of these millionaires and billionaires run in the same circles. I wouldn't be surprised on some level there is a cross-pollination of Jay-Z and Beyonce businesses or future business that Rupert Murdoch is involved in. So it wouldn't shock me because of those relations that Piers Morgan was like, my hands are off. You want me to apologize? I will apologize. My contract is up. Millions of dollars are on the table. I'm not going to risk it over Jaguar Wright. But Piers knew what he was doing, why he had her on there. There were other channels that have been highlighting Jaguar for years, making tons of money off of her. He wanted in on that. But he got a little bit of it, made his money, and now he's backpedaling. It shouldn't be a surprise if you know Piers Morgan's history. But we also understand as a platform, he had to, as a real journalist, he is a real journalist, he had to be like, well, we can't just say things on platforms without really being able to stand behind those things with actual information. Guys, I did not expect to talk about this Piers Morgan, Beyonce, Jaguar Wright stuff again, but here we are. Beyonce and Jay-Z's attorney is speaking out to TMZ, saying that they never sent a cease and desist, they sent an ultimatum, and that this interview and the accusations that Jaguar Wright made against the Carters actually is dangerous and doesn't help the real victim.
Since Cassie came forward, it's like the floodgates open. More people are speaking up, sharing their own stories about Diddy and these wild parties. It's not just about the music anymore. We're talking potential criminal charges, civil lawsuits, and a whole lot of reputations on the line. And that's why Beyonce and Jay-Z are sweating. They've been tight with Diddy for years, running in the same circles and showing up at the same events. Now everyone's wondering just how much they knew about what was really going on. Were they just innocent bystanders, or were they part of the scene? The thing is, Diddy isn't just some random guy in the industry. He's a kingmaker, a tastemaker, someone who can make or break careers. And now his empire is starting to crumble. We're seeing brands cutting T.I.'s collaborators, backing away, and even old friends are staying real quiet for B. And this is more than just gossip. Their whole brand is built on being music, royalty, the power couple that rose above the drama. But if it turns out they were involved in or even just knew about these freak-offs, it could seriously damage their image. We're talking about potential lost deals, fan backlash, and maybe even legal trouble if they're found to have been involved in anything shady. So while Diddy's the one in the hot seat right now, the heat is spreading, and in an industry where images, everything, even being associated with this kind of scandal, can be career-ending. That's why everyone's watching to see what comes out next and why Beyonce and Jay-Z might be feeling the pressure to come clean about what they knew and when they knew it.
Well, I would say this, it's kind of funny to me, man, is that Diddy used to hate Jay-Z. He hated Jay-Z enough when he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay-Z. This is back in the early 2000s. And one day, Asler, Kushner, Diddy, and myself went to a Nets game and we met Jay-Z. I've never been a Jay-Z fan, you know, like some of his music, the whole 9 yards. But when we went over to the, I think that was Prudential Center in Newark, and him and Puff met up, it was strange to me. Because I remember what Puff was trying to do. And then both of them, they was talking about something amongst each other, amongst all of us, and laughing and joking with each other. Then over the years, I see them giving garden parties. You understand what I'm saying? You could tell that the people in power had gave that reign to Diddy, and Jay was next in line. So to separate him, when in fact they may be two of the same, but because Jay-Z is low-key, that low-key sneaky shit, and Diddy is, and was, rambunctious, you know, just out with it, it don't mean that they not two of the same. One just a little quiet with his shit.
What happened at the basketball game? When they ran into, you guys ran into Jay-Z?
They were just talking. They was talking amongst each other about their little white girls. They little skinny white girls.
And I mean, did Diddy always say negative things about Jay around you?
The time he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay, yeah. He was. They worked it out.
Was there a reason behind it?
I couldn't tell you the reason behind it. It was probably because Big had died. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know why he wanted Ja Rule to go at Jay. I guess if he kept them beefing or kept them into some bullshit, he could rise up in between both of them.
Hold up though, why are Beyonce and Jay-Z suddenly looking like deer in headlights? Seems like there's more to this story than meets the eye. Let's spill the really on what's got music's power couple sweating. You know how they say a picture's worth 1,000 words? Well, some pics from Diddy's parties are speaking volumes. Right now, social media detectives have been working overtime digging up old posts that show Ba and Jay at some of these infamous gatherings. We're talking about snapshots that were probably made to stay private. But now they're all over the internet. One particularly juicy piece of evidence is a video that's been making the rounds. It shows Jay-Z looking real cozy with some ladies who definitely aren't beyond now. We all know Jay's got a history of stepping out, but this is next level. The clip's only a few seconds long, but it's got people talking about whether the Carters were more involved in these freak-offs than anyone realized. But it's not just about what we can see. Some insiders are spilling tea about what went down behind closed doors. One source, who wants to stay anonymous and girl we get why, says they saw Beyonce at one of these parties looking way too comfortable for someone who's supposed to be all about family values. Now we can't confirm if this is true, but if it is few, that's going to be hard to explain away. And let's not forget about the money trail. You know these celebs love their fancy gifts, right? Well, some financial records have leaked showing some pretty transactions between Diddy and the Carters. We're talking about expensive jewelry, luxury vacations, all that good stuff now that might not seem like a big deal for rich folks, but with everything else going on, it's got people asking questions.
Why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
Yeah, we need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone with him.
You did.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who was a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it. Think of the power of that moment. Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my mother name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you? You was Diddy girl. Corey was Jay-Z girl. Why don't you claim your friend? Claudia.
So, Jack, when you say...
When I say Corey, I'm talking about Kathy White.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was about to ask.
Jay-Z's pregnant mistress,
yeah,
who died of an imaginary fucking aneurysm. Just like the woman who was best friends with Kim and Kimura, who wrote the book Bling and died as soon as it made the bestsellers list. Who the fuck was these people supposed to go to? You can't go to the boss because the boss is fucking you. And the boss's boss don't get no fuck. Can't go to the authorities. They're all bought and paid for. You could try to get a special prosecutor, but they'll just pay somebody to reassign him to another case. Where the fuck you go when you get over by the industry? Nowhere. That's where you go, nowhere. Which is where people like me step in. You right, I go to Diddy parties to walk mother out, cause ain't nobody stopping me when I come.
So let me ask you, because I look at Gabriel Union, and when you mention things like Jay-Z's time is coming for him, then I look at Beyonce, and I say that women do have a
that country album, and any of you that buy that shit are stupid as shit.
You don't give it no
trap
credit.
music with goddamn a holster and a hat.
But she remade Jolene.
That bitch. I'm gonna tell you the song she should have remade. It's a hit. It would have done great for her. She should have tried it on. Tammy Wynette. Classic. Stand by your man. Don't act like you don't know that now. Remake that. Stand by that. That's a real country hit. Jolene, nice. But it has a ring to it. Stand by your man. Yeah. Whoops you and disrespects you with other like Kathy Coriana White.
Beyonce and Jay-Z are trying to do damage control, but it's not looking good. They've been deleting old Instagram posts, left and right trying to scrub any connection to Diddy. But you know how the internet is. Once something's out there, it's out there forever. Screenshots are forever. Honey, their PR team is working overtime too. They've put out some vague statements about standing against all forms of abuse and supporting victims, but they're not directly addressing the rumors. It's like they're trying to play both sides, and people are starting to notice what's really got everyone shook is how this to mess with their whole brand being. And Jay-Z aren't just musicians, they're a whole empire. They've built this image of being the ultimate power couple, successful in love and above all the industry drama. But if it turns out they were knee-deep in Diddy's mess, that could all come crashing down. Think about it. Beyonce's whole thing is being this strong, empowered woman. She's got young girls looking up to her, calling her Queen Ba as she was at these parties, knowing what was going down. That's going to be a hard pill for her fans to swallow. And Jay-Z, he's supposed to be this business mogul, the blueprint for success. But if he's caught up in something shady that could tank his deals faster than you can say Empire State of Mind, the thing is, even if they weren't directly involved in anything illegal, just being associated with this scandal is bad news in the entertainment world. Your reputation is everything, and right now, Ba and Jay's reputation is on shaky ground. Brands are already starting to get nervous. There's talk of some big companies putting their partnerships with the Carters on hold until this all blows over. But will it blow over? That's the $1 million question.
All right, well, let's do it like
was
this.
actually carrying his baby while you was faking it. Why your husband don't want to put his seed inside of you? He put it in everybody else? Wild in this world, yo.
It's funny, you open up Beyonce's internet, it just gets weird.
Beyonce's internet.
That's what we're calling
that
it.
belongs to the devil. Unless you calling that the devil, she ain't nothing but an employee.
Oh.
Half of which dumbass bitch.
So, you know, it's funny that it's crazy you say these things.
Why don't nobody want to accept that bitch?
I think
she went and killed the girl cats.
Okay.
A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft. She was hypnotized. She was drugged. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her and shit while she was asleep. No snacking on his bitch, killing people cats. And guess what? They wouldn't give her the restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too. Which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician and she was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. Handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington, Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington, who put together Beyonce's entire female band, which was Matthew Knowles' idea because he couldn't get Beyonce to stop people. Guess you didn't know your daughter well enough because she just started all the girls. Impulse control issues? I don't know. I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston. Why the fuck did that house burn up? Who the fuck goes to their childhood house for a visit and the shit goes up in flames?
That was very weird. The next day, within the week?
No, the next day.
The next day.
And still, no real investigation on how the house just went up in flames.
Man.
I guess they paid y'all off. Like they paid y'all off for that Astro World.
So, let me ask you.
Texas politics.
Yeah, Texas politics, man. It's that right there. We're gonna talk about the episode, but for right now, I just got to get your take on when we see a Killer Mike win 3 Grammys
and get arrested immediately after because Jay-Z paid somebody to him up just so he couldn't have a good night. You, Sean.
Hey, man.
Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that Neuralink. You'll never outthink me. Ever. All I do is frustrate your AI. You can't quantify me. You can't even control your wife. You gonna handle a bitch like me. You can't even control that goofy bitch. You should have done a better job. Maybe she wouldn't have had to lose her mind on Kathy. Cause you ain't protecting you. You're protecting her. Wonder why?
Now don't get it twisted, this tea is about to get even hotter. What if I told you the Carter's squeaky clean image was always smoking mirrors, girl? The fallout's just getting started, the cracks in being, and Jay-Z's perfect facade are starting to show, and it's not just about a few wild parties. Anymore, we're talking about a potential empire crumbling right before our eyes. The streets are buzzing with talk about how deep this mess really goes. And let me tell you, it ain't pretty. First up, let's talk money. You know, Ba and Jay are all about those big brand deals, right? Well, word on the street is that some major companies are getting cold feet or hearing whispers about Ivy Park sales taking a hit, and Tidal, that streaming service, might be in hot water too. It's like everything they've built is suddenly on shaky ground. But it's not just about the cash, their whole image is under fire. Remember how Beyonce always been about female empowerment? Now folks are asking how she could be cool with these freak off if she knew what was really going down. And Jay-Z, his full reformed player vibe, is looking real sus right now. The Beehive is in a frenzy. While some fans are writing hard saying their faves could never be involved in something so messy, but others are feeling betrayed, like the wool's been pulled over their eyes for years. Social media is lit up with people picking sides, and it's getting ugly.
Yeah, but I have been hearing that a lot. I feel like your girl Jaguar Wright might have been one of the first to really put his name out there. I don't know enough. You know, I will say that Jay-Z, if he was doing ill shit like that, he was more quiet about it. You know what I mean? He was more, but then, if we be real with ourselves, it was kind of abnormal when he got with Beyonce. Like, she was pretty young when he got with her. There's rumors that he was messing with Foxy Brown when she was pretty young. So there's a lot of those rumors around. You know what I mean? Yeah. And do you hear little things here and there? You know, I'm not gonna lie. When certain people get to a certain level of fame, I don't know why, but you start to hear little about certain people sometimes. And I don't know how many people are really exempt from it. Because if you really think about most of your top celebrities, black celebrities, rappers, I feel like the ones that are at the top for a long time, I feel like I've heard a rumor damn near about all of them. Not that I've seen anything, but it's always these top motherfuckers. Now, some people will say, oh, well, that's just a hating. It could be. Or it could be that motherfuckers got to join a club in order to get to a certain level. I don't know. I'm not in the club, so I wouldn't know. But it's just a little weird that everybody that goes past a certain point, you'll hear a little. And these be behind the scenes rumors too. This is not just internet shit. This be before the internet existed. You understand? Because it's easy for some shit to fly around now with the internet. But a lot of this was pre-internet. And it was getting around. You see? So, makes it a little different. It still could be some bullshit, but I'm just saying. Some of these rumors been around about people for a long time. You've been hearing little things about them. And have I heard little shit about Jay-Z? Yup. Do I think that he's trying to emulate himself and present himself as a gay painter, like to look like Basquiat? Yup, I do. I think 50 Cent was right about that. I think that's a code to, especially to white people, that he's approachable, he's cultured, but Basquiat was also bisexual. So is that a code that you're trying to tell these white people too? By trying to emulate this guy? I don't know, but it doesn't look good.
Industry insiders are starting to talk to one producer who didn't want their name out there, and can you blame them? Spilled some serious tea. They said everyone knew about Diddy parties, but nobody wanted to be the one to speak up now. It's like a game of hot potato. Nobody wants to be caught holding on to this secret, and it's not just Rondo's talking. Other celebs are starting to distance themselves from the Carters. You know how Ba and Jay used to be at every big event, rubbing elbows with everyone who's anyone. Now it's crickets. No invites, no shout-outs, nothing. It's like they got the celebrity plague or something. The real question is, how's this going to affect their music? Beyonce got that new album coming out, and people are already speculating about the lyrics. Is she going to address the scandal? Ignore it. And what about Jay? His next move could make or break their whole empire. Some folks are saying this could be the end of the Carters as we know them. Like, imagine it. They had to split up their assets. We're talking billions here. People, their fancy art collection, their real estate empire, all those business ventures. It could all be up for grabs. But here's the thing, Beyonce and Jay-Z have weathered storms before. Remember that elevator incident with Soling? They bounced back from that. But this feels different. It's bigger, messier, and there's way more at stake. The power coups trying to keep it together in public, but sources close to them say it's a different story behind closed doors. One insider spilled they're panicking. They know this could be the thing that finally brings them down. It's not just about their careers anymore, it's about their legacy.
Why do people have such an affinity for Basquiat anyway? I think it's trash. Let me just put it out there. I don't think that Basquiat's art is fucking all brilliant the way they claim it is. It looks like bullshit to me. It's some shit that white people would like. It's not some shit that black people look at and be like, oh my God, that is so impressive. He ran with Andy weirdos like Andy Warhol and Keith Haring. They tried to call Keith Haring graffiti back in the days. I hated Keith Haring's art. It was crap. That was not graffiti. That was a white dude from the village who was inspired by graffiti, who started doing some shit, and because he's white, now he can go to galleries and sell this shit for fucking $50,000. And then you got real blacks and yes, Puerto Ricans, you know, and even some poor white people that were doing graffiti uptown on the trains and shit like that, and they couldn't get no money for their shit, you know? And their shit was way more technical, and you know what I mean? And makes you feel something, and really aligned itself with hip hop. But all of that shit, Keith Haring, Basquiat, Andy Warhol with soup cans, get the fuck out of here. That was some shit where they gamed the people into believing that some bullshit was something special. And Jay-Z was one of the first ones, I think, to really talk about Basquiat. And it's like, why? Then you make a song about Tom Ford. That's another homosexual designer. What is this all about? Like, I don't know when heterosexuals started bigging up homosexuals, starting trying to dress like them, do their hair like them, and making songs about them. I'm just saying, you know. And Jay-Z, I like Jay-Z. I think he's a dope rapper, dope businessman. He used to be my neighbor. We lived in the same building, 560 State Street. But that being said, I'm just telling you what I know and what I've observed.
So here we are watching the Carters' empire shake like it's never shaken before. This ain't just about some wild parties anymore. We're talking reputation, money, and their whole legacy on the line. Beyonce and Jay-Z built their brand on being untouchable, but now they're looking real human, and not in a good way. The big question on everyone's lips: can music's royal couples survive this storm, or is this the beginning of the end? Their fans are split, their business deals are hanging by a thread, and the whole industry is watching to see what happens next. One thing's for sure, this drama ain't over yet. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears open, because you know there's more tea coming, and when it does, we'll be right here ready to spill it all.